All right. Good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, November 22nd. And usually on Mondays, we start out with, some football, some recaps. But the big news last night, other than Asher's win, we'll give you congratulations when in due time. Don't worry. But there was a Malice in the Palace part 2 last night. So I don't know if you guys saw this.
Yeah.
But LeBron and Isaiah Stewart pretty much got into a fight. It was LeBron obviously was just a bitch and ran away, but Isaiah Stewart, I think, actually wanted to kill him. And there's different camera angles if you search Twitter on it, and it is hilarious to see him like running across the court to go meet LeBron and try to attack him. But other than that, you're once again looking at two losers on a Monday with me and Tom, and a winner with Asher. How's everybody doing? Asher, we'll start with you.
Oh, man. I had about 10 heart attacks yesterday. Added 10 years to my life just watching that Vikings game. So, we came out with the dub, and I couldn't feel any better.
That's good. Yeah. It's an impressive win. We'll get into the whole thing. Tom, how you doing, bud?
I'm okay. Just trying to get through.
You think you're going to be able to make it through this podcast without, just getting super angry just because you got
Probably
a roommate
not.
for a month?
It's not going to be for a month, though. Like, it's going to be for the next semester, too, I'm assuming he doesn't, go abroad or something.
I mean, just be such a bad roommate that he's forced to move out.
No, I'm probably going to email the woman that just assigned him to my room and be like, yeah, no, you're not assigning him to my room.
Yeah, that always works with authority.
I know a pretty good attorney, so
no officer, you're not giving me a ticket.
I will have to say, Tom, if you do go to court with this, I will definitely be following and filming. Probably the first case.
I'm not going to go to court. I just know someone who can get really shitty with res life.
Wow. Okay, Tom, just unleashing threats. God. All right.
Yeah.
I thought this was a good. Well, actually, it was never a good Sunday for me, and I'm sure probably wasn't for you, Tom, either. But do we want to start with the plays of the week, or do we want to start with? Yeah, we'll start with the plays of the week. Obviously, we will put in Tom's play of the week. It was already in to begin with. I was going to open up with it, but that's good. Real funny for all you guys out there. But then we'll get Asher. So here's Tom's play of the week. It's a Pat Fryermuth. It's not even a real whatever.
Down territory here, right?
428? Probably. That's caught on the outside and taken in by Fryermuth for the touchdown.
Beautiful.
He set up that pick perfectly.
Unbelievable. I mean, that was just whatever. I mean,
that was a great play.
It was just a beautiful screenplay. Couldn't have done it any better.
Yeah, if that's anybody but Pat Fryermuth, you guys are not saying any of that stuff, but whatever. That's fine. I may have to just, ride with Pat Fryermuth now, because ever since I've disavowed him, I think he's got 2 touchdowns in 2 games. So
I did 3. Didn't he have 2 touchdowns?
3 touchdowns in 3 games. Yeah. So I may just have to do it. But obviously the bigger play for Asher right here. Pretty self-explanatory.
Greg Joseph to win it. He's got it. Vikings a winner.
He looked like he was going to shit his pants right before he kicked it.
That gave me goosebumps, bro. I was kneeling down. I was praying. I'm like, oh, my God, please do not miss this kick.
Is he the same guy that – it's not the same guy that missed like the 20-yarder in the playoffs versus the Seahawks?
No. Blair Walsh is long gone.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that guy's long gone.
Yeah. First question, I guess, how's Greg Joseph been for you this year? Because everyone knows he was drafted by the Browns.
Yeah, no, he's been a little more consistent than any kicker we've had besides maybe Kai Forbath. But then Kai Forbath fell off a bit, and Greg Joseph has, he's missed his fair share of kicks. But I'm glad he made this one. This one was probably the most important of the season so far.
Yeah, definitely. So without further ado, let's just hop into the games. And like I said, obviously, first we'll start with a great segue from me. Congratulations, Justin. Thanks, guys. The Vikings versus the Packers. Vikings pull out the 34-31 victory. Justin Jefferson was awesome. This is your game, Asher. Take us through it. How important this was. Just, kind of run us through everything.
No, absolutely. Yeah, the reason I chose that as my play of the week, not just because I'm a Vikings fan, but this was a must-win for Vikings if they wanted any chance of making the playoffs whatsoever. As far as where they're at in the season right now, huge home win against a division rival in the Packers, who are 8-3, and we're the number 1 seed in the NFC. And the fact that we have a Vikings kicker that can close out the game for us, that is nice. Another thing I have to add is we still pulled through against Aaron Rodgers, who had a magnificent day, almost 400 yards passing, 4 TDs, and 0 interceptions. That's an Aaron Rodgers type day. When Aaron Rodgers does that, he wins games. So I'm glad Captain Kirk could keep us in this game, and we're rolling into the next game with this momentum.
Who you guys play next week?
I think it's San Fran.
Okay.
That's tough. That's a tough game.
You want to hear our last stretch?
Yeah, I was impressed with the Vikings win yesterday. It's finally nice that Justin Jefferson is coming alive. So that's good for him. And you're totally right on the kicker part. Like, it almost seems like you just go into the game expecting missed kicks and missed extra points. So when it may only be one game-winning field goal you see from a guy in the matter of 2 years, but at least then you have some confidence that he's been in that spot before and he can produce in that spot. What do you think about the game, Tom?
Asher, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Oh, yeah. No, I just wanted to add the last 4 weeks of games that we played were against the Cowboys, Ravens, Chargers, and Packers. Absolute disgusting slate of games. We have San Fran next week. Just 5 tough matchups. And, we won 2 out of the 4 so far. We were close with the Cowboys, only lost by 4, and then only lost by 3 against the Ravens. So this team is hungry. We just need to be able to close out games at the end.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom.
I was just gonna say Devontae Adams balled out as usual. I think he had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Started to see Rodgers, I think, force it to him a little bit towards the end, which ended up working and it was fine. But I was talking about it yesterday with my family while we were watching. Rodgers is securing the bag for when he leaves for Pittsburgh.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
He is just lethal.
Just imagine
no matter how much I hate him.
Just imagine the connection between him and Freiermuth.
I know, it's just scary. It's scary.
I mean, especially when Aaron Rodgers could do something like this, without a running back like Aaron Jones. I mean, AJ Dillon did not have a hell of a game yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. He didn't have a terrible game, but he only rushed for about 53 yards. So we were good against the run, but Aaron Rodgers still came out, threw for almost 400 yards and 4 TDs. That man's unreal.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of teams this year, for whatever reason, are struggling more towards in the red zone. They're just struggling more in the red zone to get 7 points than 3. For whatever reason, I mean, it's always been a Browns thing, but for whatever reasons, it's been hard for people to score in the red zone this year. But yeah, no, great game. Huge win. Put you guys definitely in the thick of the chase. But moving on to
we have the toughest strength of the schedule for the rest of the season out of the teams in the hunt. So
you know who has the easiest? It's the Titans have the easiest the rest of the schedule the rest of the year.
Do they really?
Yeah. There's a decent chance they may not lose a game the next till the end of the year.
Didn't they lose to the Texans?
Yeah. Well, obviously that was yesterday. So
and the Jets.
And the Jets.
Yeah, what?
And the Jets.
Speaking of Tom, what happened yesterday? I honestly didn't pay any attention to the Jets game. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair enough.
I also wasn't paying attention to the Browns game though. So what happened? How did you guys lose?
It It went down to the wire. I mean, we were tied in the middle of the fourth quarter, but the real reason we lost was because Joe Flacco was throwing the football, and I know he had a decent stat line. I think he threw for like 250 and
300.
300.
291 and 2 TDs, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, like that's a good stat line. I'm not knocking it, but like he made some really crappy throws when people were wide open. Elijah Moore carried the Jets offense. The only reason that they put up 2 touchdowns, he scored both of them. One of them was like a 60-something yarder that he like put the moves on defenders to make, and then the other one, he just used his speed to get wide open downfield essentially. So like take out those 2 plays because Elijah Moore had 150 yards. Joe Flacco really didn't have a good game. The real moral of this story is if they played Joe Flacco because Zach Wilson's coming back last week, and if Mike White came out and played a good game versus this questionable Miami defense, they would have like a problem on their hands.
Yeah, it's the Jets are in a tough spot. I guess we got into it a little bit yesterday, but we didn't get into a ton of it because it was a fantasy show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's true that he's been a healthy scratch for like 3 straight weeks,
I don't think that's the case because I've been watching his rehab videos. He's still like working funky off that leg.
So I put a lot of thought into it. And even if he was a healthy scratch, that's not bad. It's essentially terrible news for the Jets and Zach Wilson. It just means that man is, doing his homework. Not every rookie quarterback has to come out there and start right away. Obviously they don't have the faith in him now. It's not like they won't have the faith in him later on. He just needs to learn the game a little bit more before he starts.
Yeah, but I just
I thought that was interesting though when you said that yesterday. I'm like, what?
It's just it was probably a report. It's probably half true or half false, or like 30% true, 30% false, whatever. That's how the media does these things. The only reason I say this, and this is why I'll get into it next with Baker, though, is if you're a head coach in the NFL and you drafted a rookie, you don't really have that grace period, unless you're a guy like Kyle Shanahan who's built up that grace period who is coming to a point where I think we need to look deeper into Kyle Shanahan, but that's a different story for a different day. I just feel like these coaches don't get a lot of time. So, yes, while I agree, Zach Wilson sitting on the bench for a full year and just taking in the game and even just just having Joe Flacco around him, I think that would definitely help him in the future. But at some point, you need to get to the point to see if he can play in the games. And if you need to just be able to evaluate him, because, I mean, we've seen it happen before. Like, I don't think Kevin Stefanski is really on the hot seat. There are people out there that say he is, though, because of how bad the Browns are this year. Like, these coaches don't have forever to make full scale changes around a team, and I don't know if it's because it's been more urgent or like the finding the new quarterbacks or whatever is new urgent. I just feel like you don't have like Aaron Rodgers with his situation behind Brett Favre. It would never happen again. It'll never ever happen again. It won't. And then even you look at Jimmy G, who sat. It kind of worked for you could say it might have worked for New England. It didn't really work out for San Francisco. Kind of did. They made a Super Bowl, but I don't know. Like I said, I agree Zach Wilson should be on the bench. I agree Trey Lance should not see the field this year. But that's why I say Kyle Shanahan I think is lucky because he's viewed in a higher light than a new coach like Robert Saleh is. And so I don't know. I actually think that you should be way less worried than I am, if we're speaking honestly.
I think that with these young rookie quarterbacks sitting behind these great veteran quarterbacks, like you said with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers had the exact same skill set that Brett Favre did. That's why it worked out for Aaron Rodgers. Jimmy G, he learned everything he can from Tom Brady, and I think the one thing he took away was that he knows how to win football games when it matters. That's what Jimmy G does. It's not like he's like an extreme talent throwing the ball for 400 yards a game like Aaron Rodgers. Who does Zach Wilson have to sit behind right now? Joe Flacco, who has played average throughout his career, won a Super Bowl, but he had the talent that he had around him. I think the one bright spot that the Jets do have is Michael Carter and Elijah Moore. Michael Carter only had 9 attempts, 7 yards
because he got
average.
hurt. He got hurt.
I mean, regardless, you guys still have a great future ahead of you with Elijah Moore and Michael Carter. As long as you can get a quarterback and then bring in a veteran other than Joe Flacco to kind of, teach your young guys the way to play the game, I think the Jets will do fine.
Well, that's why I was really interested when they brought in, and I know he's not don't read too much into this, but I was interested when they brought in Josh Johnson because he's just a crappier version of Zach Wilson. They both have kind of the ability to move the ball through the air. Zach Wilson obviously much better than Josh Johnson, but Josh Johnson does a really good job of using his legs to either get out of the pocket and throw or take off with it. So I thought maybe when they brought him in, they would have him teach Zach when to roll out of the pocket and when to run and all that, which I thought was interesting.
It still could be the case too. They could still be working on that in practice. It just hasn't reflected on the field yet.
Yeah.
I feel, and just overall, looking at these last two quarterback classes, last year's and this one coming up, I think we're going to see some really weird NFL, some weird quarterbacks starting in 2022 that we never would have thought we would ever see starting a game again. Because I got to tell you, there were some people in this class I thought they could come out and play right away, like Zach Wilson was one of them. That line sucks. Also, we're also forgetting about, maybe you guys aren't, but you didn't mention him. We're forgetting about Mekhi Becton, who's probably one of the best young left tackles in the league. So I get what you're saying there. I think we're honestly Josh Johnson's going to be able to stick around on a team through at least next year, even though he's older, just because if we've seen what we've seen from these rookies this year, you're telling me you want Sam Howell to go out there and start right away. I love Sam Howell. I think he's the best quarterback coming out. He is nowhere near ready to start an NFL game. So I just think you're going to see a lot of veterans and weird things. And that's why, I guess I'll kind of segue it to my Browns thing. The Browns are screwed.
Just before we jump over, I agree with what you added about Mekhi Becton, but the Jets, I was talking about it with my dad yesterday. They have a lot of really young talent, and the talent that they have is just really good. They're still just trying to piece everything together. You brought up Mekhi Becton. Elijah Vera Tucker, I believe, is a top 5 PPF left guard in the league right now as a rookie. He's having an incredible season. The rest of the O-line is young as well, and they're starting to play better. I don't know if you guys saw it, but they benched Greg Van Roten finally because that guy sucks. They got – who was the guy that we got at the trade deadline? The doctor from Kansas City, whatever his name is. You guys know what I'm talking about?
What would you say? Say it again.
The doctor from Kansas City that we got with the hyphened last name, the guard. I forget his
name. The doctor?
Yeah, he's a doctor. He sat out all last season to help with COVID. And
everything. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He started yesterday for the Jets, and I don't believe he let up a hit. The O-line played phenomenal yesterday, and it gave Joe Flacco a ton of time, which was great. On the defensive side of the ball, CJ Mosley's a little older, but the two Williams brothers have been tearing it up since they've been playing together on the D-line. Quincy and Quinnen. Quincy, I think yesterday had 10 tackles or something. The guy went absolutely crazy. So I think the Jets have all the pieces of starting to build up a nice young team. They just need to start piecing it together, and they need just a little more experience. So that's why I'm not too upset with the season so far.
Duvernay Tardif?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a doctor, I believe.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be too worried. I was watching all day yesterday. I was we're just gonna have another bad year at quarterback, so it's fine. I don't really care. Moving on to the Lions and Browns. Not much to say, really. I don't watch Red Zone. I'm sure they'd never cut to this if they did.
Nope, they did not.
Yeah,
I had $20 down or $30 down on the Lions money line to win 200, and they did not show it once.
No. Yeah, the only time that they actually cut to that game is when Tim Boyle threw another interception.
Yeah. So I got to tell you guys, picking up Tim Boyle, my fantasy league, did not go very well for me.
I forgot about that.
Also, your dad got me back. Actually, I don't know if your dad mentioned it or you mentioned it. Jets +4 yesterday. Never had a chance.
Nope.
God, that was terrible. And then I did
tied in the middle of the fourth quarter.
Then I did a moneyline dog parlay with myself, like not with myself, but like I put it in as like the the Cowboys, the Lions, and then another team that lost. So it was terrible.
Yikes.
It was terrible.
Yikes.
Yeah, not much to say. Tim Boyle was bad. I mean,
He's
like the
bad.
Lions are depleted of like actual talent. Like they actually just don't have a lot of talent. And that is the worst quarterback for their team ever because what little talent they have, he doesn't like make it any better.
I don't know why they didn't put in David Blau. That guy was a Thanksgiving Day hero.
Because he's we're big fans of David Blau in Cleveland.
That's the reason you don't start him?
No, yeah, he was on the Hard Knocks with Baylor, or not Hard Knocks, Baker. I think he was on the Browns that year when Baker got drafted, I think, because he stuck around through the preseason.
I thought David Blau got drafted to the Lions out of Purdue.
David Blau was 100% in the last 3 or 4 years played for the Browns or was on their practice squad during training camp. So, but yeah, nothing to say other than they got lucky to get the win, and B, like Baker is just not good. Like I don't know how to put it any different way. Like I've always said that like if he came out yesterday and had a decent game and they won, like you're able to go on like, okay, you won the game, whatever. He looked bad against the Lions defense, who's terrible. And the 2 interceptions he threw, I just don't know what he's doing. I don't know what has changed. And if he's injured, then that's fine. But then sit down, dude. Like, stop saying you're going to come and keep playing because they almost lost that game yesterday. And the majority of it would have been Baker Mayfield's fault because of those 2 interceptions. So there's really no silver lining here. Once again, the Browns could reel off 3 straight, and Nick Chubb could have 3 straight 200-yard games, and it wouldn't surprise me. Or they could lose the next 3 either, and it wouldn't surprise me. They're not playoff contenders. If they do make the playoffs, they're not going to beat anybody. But yeah, it's just there's not a ton to say. It's really bad, and I think Asher, we talked about it last Monday, I think, and then I think we might have talked about it literally yesterday. But the Lions, like, they just don't have a lot of talent, and when you're a team that was supposed to be touted as the playoff team coming into this year, like that didn't look good. But then again, there are like the Ravens only beat the Lions on a 60 whatever yard kick that was too. So I don't know. The Lions play up. They're down to their competition. But the only thing I'll take away from yesterday is Baker legit looked bad. Like I was getting Johnny Manziel flashbacks, and Johnny Manziel may end up being the worst quarterback to ever step on an NFL field ever. I don't have anything else on the Lions Browns.
I mean, I think. Frankly, Justin, and I'm not trying to rub salt in the wound of the game or anything. I think that the Browns should have lost that game.
I agree.
Because if the Lions on 4th and 6 on the 20-yard line had gone for it, I think they would have gotten it the way the defense was playing at the time. And then they could have scored a touchdown, which would have, I believe, put them up a point. Instead, they opted to kick a field goal. I think that the loss was 100% on Dan Campbell yesterday.
Yeah, and I like Dan Campbell a lot. I think he's cool. But I also think we're finding out that Dan Campbell's not an NFL coach. He's just not. He should be either a college coach or a position coach because he's one of those rah-rah guys that gets you moving. Like, and he clearly doesn't have the best coordinators around him. Like I feel like Ed Orgeron was the rah-rah guy at LSU, but he had the 2 great coordinators around him. Yeah, but I do like I said, I like Dan Campbell, but I think we're finding out that he's just not a very good football coach. And it's not all to blame on him because, like we said, it's a roster depleted of talent. And the worst thing ever. Also, I forgot to say this: Nick Chubb is amazing. I mean, he will probably have a chance to be better than Jim Brown at some point in his Browns career, and he's going to be absolutely wasted here. And I feel bad for him.
I was going to say the exact same thing about DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift was still able to have a hell of a game yesterday.
That run he had, I haven't obviously Jonathan Taylor's been insane this year.
Yeah.
But DeAndre Swift is very good at his own level too. He's very good. He's very, very fast. And he came out as more of a one cut back, but he kind of dances around a little bit. He's pretty good. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't watch most of the Browns game. I watched like sparingly during the first half, and then the second half I didn't really watch. But all right, Tom, we'll go with you. You can pick the next game.
Let's go to.
Oh no, I got it. Sorry, Tom. Sorry.
Let me retract that.
Cowboys Chiefs.
Oh my gosh, this game was so disappointing to watch.
I know, bro. Like the Cowboys, man, they've scored 2 or more touchdowns in like every game this year, and then they come out and kick 3 field goals.
Unreal. Yeah, I mean, I guess I owe an apology to Cynthia Freeland. She was absolutely right when she said this team's going to look different. But the only thing I would say is that without CD Lamb in after receiving concussion and going into concussion protocol, without Amari Cooper, the Chiefs just knew how to deal with the rest of their wide receivers. I mean, Cedric Wilson had a couple of key drop passes. He didn't have the best looking day by any means whatsoever. But regardless, I mean, if Dak really wants to be in the conversation and stop like having people say, "Oh, Patrick Mahomes is always going to shadow over you," or "You're just going to hide in the shadow," he really needs to start showing that he could play against any other team in the NFL. I get it. The Chiefs are on a rampage right now. They took a lot of criticism in the beginning of the season, and the defense is finally stepping up. Patrick Mahomes and Hill and Kelsey are finally starting to click again. But still, if the Cowboys are going to be the most prolific offense in the NFL, that he's going to need to look to other people besides just CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper.
Tom?
Yeah, I mean, Zeke was essentially a non-factor, I believe, yesterday. I saw Tony Pollard in seemingly every other play.
Tony Pollard was kind of a non-factor too, though.
Yeah, that's where I was going. The running game just wasn't there. That Chiefs defense, for as much shit as we give them usually, they looked very good yesterday.
They were stellar.
They were getting to Dak every single play. What's the guy's name? L'Jarius Sneed, I believe.
Yeah, Ladarius Sneed. Yeah,
Ladarius Sneed.
L'Jarius.
Yeah,
is it L'Jarius?
L'Jarius.
It is
L'Jarius.
L'Jarius. Okay,
I was right. Cool. L'Jarius Sneed, bro. That guy had an absolute monster day. Did he have? I know he had 1 pick. Did he have 2, or did he have like just a crap ton of defended passes on top of like his?
I saw him knocking away a couple of passes, but I don't know.
He had just a monster performance today.
He had 1 pick and 3 pass deflections.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pose this question to you guys then. So that the defense hasn't looked bad, and it hasn't looked bad recently. Then, so is maybe part of the Chiefs' defense's problem the fact that, or what their problem used to be was the fact that their offense would go either A, 4 and out right away, or B, score right away. So were they really bad, or were they really just tired constantly because they were on the field for probably more than half the games?
I mean, you could make that argument for a late game, but like we've seen the Chiefs go down big early in games this year, which was something that we never really saw. And that's when Mahomes started to panic a little bit and start to force the ball to Tyreek and Kelsey.
Well, I also think we're seeing that Tyreek Hill is not a very good receiver. He's an incredible athlete, by far the fastest player in the NFL. His hands aren't anything special whatsoever.
Yeah,
and
as soon as he gets covered or gets into a situation where he has to make a play on the ball, he's screwed.
And I mean, I guess this is me kind of bashing Tyreek Hill. If Tyreek Hill were to ever leave the Chiefs, or if Mahomes ever left the Chiefs, I don't know what quarterback can play with Tyreek Hill, because the only reason Patrick Mahomes does so fast is he could flick his wrist and throw it 75 yards.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I think Josh Allen would be able
Josh
to play
Allen's the only other one.
If I don't have anything else on the Cowboys Chiefs, let's head into your Buffalo Bills, Tom. Josh Allen.
Yeah, I know, bro.
Josh Allen fucking sucks. Josh Allen sucks.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor's really good at football.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's a good football player.
No, you need to start answering questions about your Josh Allen love. He has looked above average at best this year.
Above average at best.
Yep.
That's still pretty good.
That's still really good.
That's still pretty good.
I just don't. I don't get the. In fact, like I understood it before, but because I didn't like Josh Allen because I thought Baker was better. It's not that. I honestly just don't think Josh Allen's that good. He's an incredible athlete again, but
I mean, he
the
completed
things
60%.
he does in the NFL, we've Tom, me and you have talked about it with Kyler Murray. Josh Allen is going to get killed one of these days because he runs around like a fucking idiot.
I mean,
if you want to talk
he's
about
got the body and the build.
if you want to talk about arm strength, fine. He has all the arm strength. His touch passes are garbage. He does not have that good of accuracy. I'm done on Josh Allen. He signed the huge contract, and then this year it's all about the Bills. They start off well, they run into maybe some injuries, other thing like that. They start playing actual teams, and they suck. McDermott is a terrible head coach. Dayball is a shitty offensive coordinator, and Josh Allen, if you put good coordinators and a good coach with him, he will be very good because he does have arm strength and he has the athletic ability. But the positions they put him in, and then the things he does in those positions to make himself in a worse position are insane. The people who don't call out that aren't calling out Josh Allen are out of their mind. Josh Allen, if you had to start a franchise right now, I don't think I'd pick him in the top 5.
I mean, he completed 60% of his passes for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yes, but why are that's great. That's great for that's
better than any.
That's great for Baker Mayfield. That's great for Baker Mayfield. What has Josh Allen done that makes him better than Kirk Cousins? Nothing.
I'm not going to sit here and argue this because it's not going to change your mind one way or another. That's why I don't get into
I just want you to explain your love for Josh Allen when he's clearly shown this year that he's not a top elite QB that we thought he was. Does he have a chance to be one? Absolutely. Can he play like one? Absolutely. But maybe he just needs a brain in his goddamn head. He runs around like a chicken with his head cut off.
Too much. That's all it is he's trying to do too much.
Okay, and then there is, and again, my problem. Tom, we've talked about this for almost 2 years now.
When you get down in the hole, they were down, 24-7 at halftime. He did not throw an interception in the second half. But those 2 picks came in the first. After that, yes, they did not put up any points.
If you're an elite quarterback, you win that game. As long as you're fine with Josh Allen being in the same category.
I'm really not. I can't get a word in. Go for it.
Okay. We can move on.
Yeah.
You just can't defend Josh Allen. You basically just said
I don't have an opportunity to, so let's just move on.
Yeah, I don't know what Ashley, you can pick the next game.
I don't get to say anything.
You can. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy that we just give Josh Allen a pass when he's his whole team and they lose. So
I'm not giving Josh Allen a pass whatsoever. He's had inconsistent play throughout the year. I won't argue with you there, but I still think he's an above average quarterback. And in the right games, when he actually has a good game, he could play at an elite level. But yeah, if you're going to be labeled an elite quarterback, you got to win games like these. But I think the Colts were just ready. And when you have a guy like Jonathan Taylor going for 185 yards and 5 TDs, the game's almost impossible to win. So you have to put some sort of blame on the defense as well. It can't just be on Josh Allen.
I mostly do the Josh Allen thing just to piss Tom off.
You succeeded.
That's fine. That's good.
You succeeded.
Tom should know that I'm just messing around 90% of the time, but he hasn't looked good this year, so I'm not going to keep talking about it. He really just hasn't looked that good this year. If he gets to the Super Bowl and he makes one of those mash the buttons plays, it's going to be disaster, absolute disaster. But
right, well,
so who knows?
We'll go on. We'll go on to my sleeper candidate of the week, in Jalen Hurts and the Eagles versus the Saints. Jalen Hurts had a great game, let's say the least. Obviously the stat line doesn't show it, but the Eagles played very well this game. Jalen Hurts was still able to keep them in the game. And all around great performance by the Eagles. I'm not going to lie. I was very impressed in their gameplay against the Saints. I understand the game was at home, but regardless, I hats off to the Eagles.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is definitely not making the Eagles front office's decisions this summer any easier. I'll say that. He's all right. I think if they use him in the right situations, he's good. And I mean, once again, I just don't understand why Sean Payton basically. I'm trying to think of a way to describe. What did I use last week, Tom, to describe their relationship?
Sean Payton and who?
Taysom Hill. Well, basically, like Sean Payton and Taysom Hill are like Sean Payton was married to Drew Brees, but he really, really liked Taysom Hill, and now they can be together, and they just refuse to be together. I don't know what the Saints are doing, but yeah, the Eagles look good. Yeah,
I mean, it confused me why Jalen Hurts had 18 rushing attempts, which led the team. But, I mean, he was productive enough with it where he got 70 yards. 24 passing attempts was a little low, I thought. But the Saints – weren't we talking about the Saints being really good against the run yesterday?
I didn't say – I said they were bad against the pass. I know that.
I knew that, but I thought they were a top team against the run. But Miles Sanders still somehow carved out 94 yards in his return game. I don't know. This was a surprising game just in the sense of like it was really the Saints defense that cost the game here because I was watching part of it and Trevor Siemian, yeah, he threw 2 picks. He didn't look terrible though. I mean, he had 200 yards and 3 passing touchdowns, and I think he ran one in as well. So he had 4 total touchdowns.
Darius Slay had another pick 6.
Yeah.
Another pick 6.
Yeah.
I thought he returned a fumble last week.
Oh shoot, my bad. You're right. Regardless, he still got 6 points for the defense.
Yeah. No, the Eagles are they were definitely an early team that when like Nick Sirianni didn't look good early. I thought he was definitely going to be an early candidate to be the first one fired. I mean, that still could be the case, but like I said, if anything, if you're Jalen Hurts or the Eagles, at least you're making that front office think about something other than drafting a quarterback this year. At least
the Eagles offense has gotten progressively better week in and week out. I mean,
well, why weren't they using Miles Sanders like 2 weeks ago?
Because he was on the IR.
Yeah.
Well, you know me, I don't know if he was injured, who's not. Yeah, no, the Eagles. Nick Sirianni, I 100% thought was going to be like this little wimp coach, but he's not. All right, Eagles, whoever that was. Let's go to the Panthers and whoever they played. Who'd they play?
Washington football team. And before we start,
should we? Tom, do you want to talk about great quarterbacks?
Do we first, before we get into this game, I owe Tyler Heineke an official apology. I said Taylor, didn't I?
You said Tyler.
Oh, Taylor Heineke. Regardless, I still owe him an apology no matter what. I've had him as my sick QB for like the past 3 weeks, and he's proved me wrong every single week. So I'm gonna take my hats off to him. He can be off my sit column for a few weeks until he shits the bed again.
But Panthers, Washington. Oddly enough, to me, it looked like the Washington's defensive line was almost better without Chase Young. I mean, I wouldn't say better, but they looked more like interchanging, and it looks like they played better. And then, I mean, maybe other than Tim Boyle yesterday, Taylor Heineke would have been like, so if you had to rank all 32 quarterbacks going into Sunday and then rank him again after Sunday, Taylor Heineke might have been my second worst quarterback in front of Tim Boyle. But yeah, I mean, he deserves a lot of credit. Ron Rivera deserves a lot of credit. How long do we think this little experiment with Cam is going to go?
I mean, at least until Darnold comes back.
Better question. When is it all going to go bad? Because we all know that's coming at some point.
Like I said, when Darnold comes back, because I think his injury was 6 to 8 weeks, technically he'll be back for the end of the season, but they might just say sit out, heal up or whatever, because they have to invested draft capital. But Cam didn't look that bad. He went 21 for 27 with 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then ran for another 46 and a touchdown. So it's not a terrible stat line. I don't really want to say that this was on the offense, honestly.
No, Cam played a heck of a game. I'm not gonna lie. He played up to the standard that most people
My
thought he was
sleeper
going to.
quarterback.
Maybe even a little.
Do you guys both have him as your sleeper quarterback?
I did.
No, I didn't. I Jalen Hurts.
Oh, go ahead.
Anyways, no, Cam played better than most people thought he was going to after sitting out for a while and coming back into the Carolina Panthers system. But he draws a great matchup next week with the Miami Dolphins. So next week, unfortunately, won't be the week where he's exposed. But if he does, then that experiment ends real fucking quick. Next week will be the week that he no longer is a starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers if he drops one of the Dolphins.
I think they're going to stick with Cam, like no matter what, the rest of the year. First of all, I'll take back my original thoughts on Sam Darnold. Like I thought he was going to be good down there. Maybe he's just not that good. I mean, whatever. But what's the advantage of putting Darnold back in? He's less mobile. He probably makes less mistakes, like big mistakes, but I mean, it's not like they might be fighting for a playoff spot, but I can just see them sticking with Cam the rest of the way, no matter what. I mean, because I think either way, they're going into next year with serious question marks at quarterback anyways. So,
I also want to point out Terry McLaurin had a huge game on just 5 catches. I didn't really look at his stat line. When I saw he had 100 yards and a touchdown, I assumed they were feeding him, but he only had 5 catches, got 103 and a tutty. And Adam Humphries, I thought had a bigger game because every time they needed a big play, I just saw him pop up on red zone, but he only had the 2 catches for 30 yards. So this game was very deceiving.
Asher, you got anything?
Other than the apology to Taylor Heineke. Taylor,
guys, okay, all right. Time out. I think you don't need to apologize to Taylor Heineke after 1. I think my apology to Freiermuth was more warranted because I think I had said he was bad for like 3 straight weeks before that.
That's
I
what
said
he
that
did.
with Heineke. I did the exact same thing with Heineke.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
then,
he's been in my-
apology is needed. We just have to find out who Tom's going to make his apology to at some point.
I mean, I haven't picked one guy in my sit-em column for 3 straight weeks.
That's true. He's got a point. No, other than that, yeah, hats off to Taylor Heineke. He got a huge win in Carolina. Ron Rivera with his reunion with Cam, Christian McCaffrey, and the Panthers. He did well coaching throughout the game. Antonio Gibson, 19 attempts for 95 yards. Did get a TD on the board, but still had a great rushing day. Terry McLaurin delivered with only 5 receptions. All around, yeah, I mean, hats off to the Washington football team. They had a heck of a game.
My dog is slumped.
All right,
the Doge is schleppy.
Your dog always lays there. It always lays there.
He's slumped right now.
I've seen him behind you like months ago, like almost every time he would just be there, and you pointed him out like once or twice, but afterwards I just recognized it.
Yeah, he's always here with me because my dad would go out and do something. My mom's working, so I got the dog, and I let him sleep while I do this.
Yeah, the Doge is taking a schlep.
All right, let's move on to. Like I said, I don't watch Red Zone, but I have a feeling this might be another one of the games they didn't really flip to. The Ravens and Bears.
Oh, they had it on a lot, actually.
Yeah, they had that game on quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why, but
it's because they were hyping up Tyler Huntley and like.
Yeah, I was looking at the stats. It didn't look, but okay. So, wow, look at that. So for the Ravens backfield, fantasy wise. What would you guys do as seasoned vets in the fantasy? Like, would you grab a certain one of them? Would you grab all of them? Or would you not play anything from them?
They belong in the waiver wire.
Yeah, I hate committee backfields. Some of them you can kind of find points. Like the Patriots one's a big one because there's at least one running back a week that kind of goes off in the past. So you were always safe taking James White because he would be the PPR kind of guy.
This year, Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, exactly. But this backfield, the Ravens backfield always has been by a huge committee, so it's always been a backfield that people kind of avoid.
I'm going to continue to avoid.
Well, when J.K. Dobbins comes back and he might get the lion's share because he can kind of do it all, then we can talk about it. But when they're running Latavius Murray, Devonta Freeman, Pat Ricard as their like three guys getting rushing attempts outside of Tyler Huntley, it's just not serviceable for normal leagues. I may or may not have Devonta Freeman in my 32 teamer.
I don't have him.
32 teamer. Jeez Louise. That's a
Whoa.
headache and a half.
Hey, man.
So did Fields get hurt?
Yeah, he has a rib injury. Which is tough because they're coming up on their Thanksgiving game.
So,
but the Thanksgiving game is versus the
Lions.
Oh, okay. I thought I was going to say Packers. Okay, never mind. Either one of you can go. Never mind.
Yeah, no, it was funny. It was funny because so I was watching the Red Zone yesterday, and I actually had a waiver wire in for Justin Fields, but for some odd reason he wasn't going to clear waivers until about 8 p.m. yesterday. Oh. And as soon as the injury hit, it was about 7:50. I rushed to my phone, grabbed the sleeper app. I'm like, nope.
Nope.
Take him off. Take him off. I no longer want to pick him up. So, yeah, it was very interesting to see that and to see Andy Dalton come to the game and still throw 2 TDs and 200 yards.
I'm also pretty pissed that I made the wrong selection between Christian Kirk and Darnell Mooney because that man had a game and a half.
Absolutely, he did. Darnell Mooney.
125 yards and a tutty on 5 catches.
He still could have went for more yards, too. There was 2 deep passes that he could have had. One he stepped out of bounds.
Yeah. From the Ravens' point of view, I think the Ravens might be one of the best teams in the AFC, like maybe one of the top 3, because they can just win so many different ways. They can lock you down on defense. They can run that stupid, annoying, god-awful option offense with Lamar. It's the hardest offense to stop in Madden, so I don't want to talk about it. It's impossible to stop.
Did you guys see the interview after the game with Tyler Huntley?
Yeah, I did. The man,
it was so wholesome.
Yeah,
so wholesome.
Yeah, it was weird because they were asking him like, how do you feel about being told you're going to start and how did that go? He's like, yeah, no, the coach just came up to me as we're getting on the bus. He's like, hey, man, just do your thing out there. He's like, I got you, fam. And then walked on the bus. That's essentially what he said.
And then, like, the last question he got was like, oh, who are you going to call out this? Shoo, you already know I'm going to call my mama and my daddy. I'm like, I love him.
Yeah. He's a great guy. He got gassed in the eye one of the first plays of the game.
They asked him about that, too. They're like, what happened there? He's like, shoot, man, I didn't even know it was bleeding. Someone came over, they dapped me up, put the little thingy on, and I'm good.
Yeah.
All right.
Wholesome quarterback.
Seems like a great guy.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw this already, but Sutton just signed an extension with the Broncos.
4 years, $60.4 million, I think.
After just signing Tim Patrick, too.
Yeah. Now that's a nasty receiving core.
Patrick.
Yeah, you got Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, and Sutton all locked up.
Javonte Williams at running back.
Yeah, the rumors were the Browns were going to go hard after Patrick this offseason if he didn't resign.
They should have. He's solid.
Yeah.
He's just, he had that touchdown pass like last week or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go on to
upset of the week.
Upset of the week. Let's see if I know which one it is. Well, I mean,
you could say
the upset of the week was the Colts over the Bills.
No,
Texans versus Titans. I got it.
Yeah, the number 1 seed in the AFC versus a 1-8 Texans team.
Okay, and you guys are gonna tell me like I'm making it up. I know you won't believe me, and maybe you guys said the same thing too. Just yesterday, like looking at that game, in my head I was just like, the Texans are going to find a way to win this game because the Titans have been so hot. This is such a major letdown spot. I definitely wouldn't have called it publicly or like been anywhere near me saying that in real life, but I was thinking it, and that's all that matters. But yes,
no, I texted you guys yesterday. I'm like, it's time for the Texans to expose the Titans.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay,
it was like the beginning or like at the end of the first quarter or something.
All right, so the Texans. I mean, I also got to say, if you're a Texans fan, you're probably getting kind of mad about winning these games. It's like, hey man, we're in we got to start losing more.
Yeah, but who's like the unanimous number one pick? It's a defensive guy. That's not going to help the Texans whatsoever.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
they're safer to just keep playing football and take like a third or fourth pick.
I've been telling the Browns they should tank since week 4, so I'm fine with tanking. The Cavs are going to be sorry to get off topic. The Cavs are going to be able to tank without even trying to tank because Colin Sexton tore his ACL, and now they're not going to re-sign him, and I cannot be happier because I hate Colin Sexton. All right, Texans
Mobley looks like really, really good though. Rookie of the year.
Who?
Yeah,
Mobley. Yeah, he's
Sexton.
If you watch him play, he's like he's so awkward to watch because he's obviously you can tell he's like a really skinny 7-foot like athletic guy, but like yeah, he's really smooth. He's really good. But he's only out for like 2 more weeks or something. But there's your Cavs update. So yes, Justin wants the Cavs to keep losing, so we get another lottery pick.
The Knicks look good.
Do they?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Good. Who's your NBA team, Asher? Who do you cheer for?
Timberwolves. I'm Minnesota loyal.
I don't think the T-Bulls are doing very good, but I don't know. They might.
They have Anthony Edwards though.
They do, and they have Karl Anthony Towns.
Exactly.
All right. Texans 22, Titans 13.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
Go ahead. You start it off for us.
Brandon Cooks let me down yesterday.
Big time.
Two catches for 18 yards on 3 targets.
Tyrod Taylor had a total of 107 yards passing.
Oh my God. I'm just looking at it right now.
14 for 24, no touchdowns, no interceptions. But he had 2 rushing touchdowns. And one of them was the Statue of Liberty play where he got put up above the earth and then brought back down. Yeah. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you only throw the ball 24 times when you have a backfield of Rex Burkhead, David Johnson, and Philip Lindsay.
Because Rex Burkhead rushed the ball 18 times.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like you should be a pass-heavy team, I'm trying to say.
Houston won in the worst way possible, and I could not be more upset with their win, but I'm glad they won.
Okay.
I'm in
elaborate a little bit.
I'm in a confused state here. I invested in Brandon Cooks quite a bit in my DFS lineups. I knew that he could potentially have a good game considering he's the only wide receiver to look for. Tyrod Taylor's back in. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot because they're going to be down in this game. But it turned out that Tyrod Taylor just wanted to do it all. He wanted to run the ball on his feet, throw for 170 yards, and let his defense do the rest of the work. So I'm glad they won because I think the Tennessee Titans aren't as good as their record, but they won in the worst way possible. So
I think it would not surprise me if the Titans got the 1 seed and lost in the first game.
I also want to talk flip side of the coin. We Tyrod Taylor threw 24 times. Tannehill threw 52 times for 300. Huh?
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, I mean,
35 for 52, 323 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 4
picks.
Interceptions. 4 interceptions. He's out here looking like Zach Wilson, but he can't run. 4 interceptions, and I believe he didn't lose any fumbles, but he fumbled 2 other times. His team recovered it, but I mean, my God, that was atrocious.
Yeah, the Titans can't win by doing that. Like that's just an all-around negative for them. I think their defense has gotten better, but it's definitely not good enough where they can be on the field for 70, 80% of the game. And a lot of people I think will look at this and be like, oh, it's a blip on the radar. I don't think it is, especially because Derrick Henry is out. Like this might be what the Titans are, like a heavy pass team. And you're seeing it now that, I mean, obviously this was a outlier of a result kind of, but I think you are side, and you kind of mentioned you don't think they're as good as the record either, Asher. So I think this actually showed something that the Titans are not as good as we have made them out to be the last 2 or 3 weeks.
I've never said the Titans were good. I'm going to preface that. I never thought they were good to begin with. I thought that they were riding the coattails of A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry, but both guys were out after A.J. Brown had a rib injury yesterday.
He came back after that.
Yeah, his tests are negative, but he still was limited during that game. So it sucks for the Titans, but they'll have both guys back at the end of the year. I still think they're a candidate to lose their first playoff game. Or lose the first playoff game they have this year.
I also am very questionable. I don't mean to do that. I'm still looking through the stats. If the Titans had all of these problems going on and they couldn't move the ball even when Tannehill wasn't throwing a pick, they only punted twice. How does that work?
Because all your other drives were picked off.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When they had other drives. Only 4 of them were intercepted, and 2 of them were early on in the drive. 2 punts. They must have been going for it on 4th down for the third quarter on.
Yeah, that's a good point. They had a fumble loss as well. But
Chester Rogers. I think that was on his punt return.
That was, because he turned his back to the punt.
He turned his back, and then it hit his foot before it hit the ground.
Yeah, I did see that.
Chester
I'm like, you idiot.
Bro, just get away. Don't run back towards – he ran this way, and then he, tried to run back towards the ball. I'm like, bro,
I understand trying to get the guy away from the ball, especially if he's trying to get the ball in the end zone.
It's going to be what it's going to be if it's a good punt.
At that point, if your back's away, your best just to get out of the way.
All right, moving on to Arizona at Seattle. Arizona wins 23-13.
Terrible game.
I'm just going to come out and say it. I think the Cardinals are the best team in the NFL.
I don't disagree.
Yes. Yeah, yes, but at the same time, the Seahawks, they're changing their game plan entirely while Russell Wilson's nursing a finger injury. I think Russell Wilson might have came back too early. They were a run-first offense yesterday, and it clearly showed they couldn't do that with Alex Collins. And Russell Wilson just needs to stop being a bitch and throw the ball.
Dude, he looked terrible when he did throw the ball, though. He was missing receivers left and right.
I know, but shit, he's killing me.
He's killing everyone. DK owners, you got 5 points out of that man.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm here. I have him in 3 leagues. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me?
Seahawks are in trouble. Cardinals didn't do anything special to win that game, but when Kyler's in, I do think they're the best team in the NFL.
Okay, cool, good. So I guess a question for you, Asher. So you are admitting the Cardinals are good, but you said the Titans aren't good. They have the second best record in the NFL.
The Titans are worse than their record. They're riding the coattails of Derrick Henry a little too much. When Derrick Henry is in and he does great, then yes, but the rest of the team is not as good as the record. Whereas Cardinals, even without Kyler Murray, they're still good. They still have a good football team. I'm just saying they just didn't do anything special yesterday to earn that title, I guess. They are a well-rounded team. The Titans aren't. I
agree. I agree. No, I agree. I was just kind of wondering because, a lot of people would just tune in and hear you say, "Oh, the Titans aren't that good at 8-3," and then maybe you said the Cardinals aren't that good at 8 or 9-2. But I agree. The Titans. I think I agree with you on the playoff thing. I think Vrabel's a good enough to coach to keep the cracks from really being shown throughout the rest of the regular season. But I think that first playoff game, whether it be they get the bye or not, I think they're going to be in real trouble. I agree, especially without Derrick Henry. What do you do in the playoffs without Derrick Henry? If you're the Titans, what do you do in the playoffs? You
throw 4 picks again.
Yeah.
That's
so
what you do.
Yeah, I think and unfortunately for the Titans, the Derrick Henry injury just happened at a really shitty time.
Yeah, no, I get where you were confused there. They do have similar records. It's just the Cardinals are more well-rounded. The Titans
Tom, you were doing something?
Yeah, well, I was going to let Asher finish just because mine's a little off topic. But I was talking yesterday with my family. We were talking during the Packer game and Aaron Rodgers and everything. Actually, I guess it was more so during the Seahawks game and Seahawks Cards. But we were talking about Aaron Rodgers, and I brought up the point that everyone is saying that he's going to be going to Pittsburgh at the end of the year.
Okay. Tom, you gotta stop saying everyone's saying that. So when he goes, it's just me who said that.
All right, so when Justin said he's going to Pittsburgh,
Thank you.
and my mom brought up the point of like, oh, what happens if he doesn't go to Pittsburgh? Like, where else could he go? I'm like, okay, well, Denver potentially because they have everything except a fantastic quarterback. Not saying Teddy B's bad, but Rodgers is fantastic.
I could see that.
And then after that, we really had to start thinking. We were talking about the Saints. Then I brought up the Titans, and I'm like, imagine they didn't have Ryan Tannehill here. They have A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. Derrick Henry gets the run game going, but like when teams are stacking 8 in the box, you have Aaron Rodgers where you just can't do that. I think that it would just really open up the Titans' offense.
I think the Titans could make that argument to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers will still say no immediately.
I mean, yeah,
but I see where
I
you're
know
coming
that.
from.
I
see where you're coming from.
I'm just trying to think of we were trying to think of teams that like need a quarterback because a lot of them have just addressed it in the draft or in free agency.
You said an interesting one with the Broncos.
I like the Broncos pick though.
Yeah. That's my front runner.
I'm
outside of the Steelers.
And don't ask me why I know this or why I think they know this. I'm pretty sure Cheyenne Woodley's from Colorado.
Yeah, that's why why he had initially requested there on draft day.
Yeah, she's from Colorado. Yeah, no, I think the Broncos make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Again, I think the Steelers make a ton of sense as well.
The other team we talked about was Vegas, but Carr's having a relatively good year, but they might just want to clean house.
When I think of Aaron Rodgers, like you think of most athletes like OBJ or the most football players, I guess, like OBJ, all the big time stars like that. They want to go to LA or New York or
Tampa Bay.
Like I think Aaron Rodgers literally wants to. I don't know where I'm going to go with this, but
he wants to win championships. I don't think he cares where he goes.
And he doesn't really. He's a low key guy. Like he just doesn't. He has no interest in being in LA. Probably no interest in me. Like, if the Chiefs didn't have Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs would be like the perfect place for him.
I mean,
like, just like the middle of nowhere. Well, I mean, just talking about just the state in general and its location, just like the middle of nowhere, the arch. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he could build his defense fort so that no one can come in and see him, especially his family, because he hates his family. It would be perfect for him. That's why Denver and Colorado is a very, very equal counterpart.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when he goes to the Steelers, it's going to suck. So, yeah.
For you.
Yeah, I won't have to deal with him 2 times a year anymore.
I've never had to deal with him 2 times a year. I could hate him from a distance.
But let's all be honest here. Even if me and Asher end up having to face Aaron Rodgers, you had to face Tom Brady for your entire lifetime. So
yes, we did, and now we get Mac Jones, who apparently is God himself.
So I'm not the Patriots played Thursday, so I don't want to bring up the whole game. Out of all the young quarterbacks in the NFL, like I'm kind of
he's the rookie of the year. We get it.
No, I'm not. No, I'm going farther than that. I think he might be like a top 3 young rookie quarterback.
I mean, there are only 5 rookie quarterbacks.
But no, I'm talking about younger guys too, like Josh Allen,
like
Herbert,
25 and under.
Yeah, Herbert. Like
are you saying
it's
top
just
3?
not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Did you say top 3? That's where I'm gonna have to stop you if you said top 3.
So I'm thinking you put
Kyler Murray, Josh Allen,
Justin Herbert.
Isn't Mahomes under 25 too?
Yeah, but I threw out Mahomes. Mahomes is already a Hall of Famer.
He's been in.
Are you telling me right now?
No. Hey, no.
Okay.
I'm just glad you said it. I'm just glad you said it.
I've gotten multiple people to make a bet with me in real time about Patrick Mahomes is already an MVP or already in the Hall of Fame because he is.
Yeah, so just not ready for him. But
I think the 3 you said, I can get on that. But I think Mac Jones is 4th or 5th then. And I actually think he's closer to Justin Herbert than you might think. I love Justin Herbert. And I hate the Patriots. And I hate Mac Jones. It's just
he just fits the system so well, and he does his job.
I'll go as far as to say he might be in the top 7. As of now. He's played 10 games, and yeah, he's looked like his fundamentals are great. I just want to see a little bit more out of him, a little more risk.
And
He's the best rookie this year by far.
Oh yeah, he has been. I'm not going to argue there.
And it almost sucks because obviously I don't think Mac Jones is going to go on to be Tom Brady or win the Super Bowl this year or anything like that. But I mean, actually, they honestly could win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, they just retook the division. I was like, I was dumbfounded. I'm like, what the hell? They just took the division.
Bill Belichick's sitting there like,
he's going to mess around and win the division for 20 years straight again.
That's what I was like. I wanted to see because obviously we're going to have the conversation forever. Who was it? Was it Belichick or Brady? I'll always be. It was Brady. But then things like this that he does is it just takes these random quarterback, and maybe it is the system, and maybe it is whatever. But at some point, I guess, and I'll never admit it because I'll admit it on my deathbed. Maybe he's just such a good coach. It's unbelievable.
The tandem was great. He's the best coach. Of all
they were
time.
just so quiet about it too. They just took that division under the radar
for 20 years.
Tom, your reaction when I just told you, my reaction was the same thing. I think I saw something on Twitter and was like, the Patriots have retaken the AFC East. And it had the number of days since they had been last in first place. And it's like a little bit over a year. So they obviously were last place last year. But other than that, I was like, that's just not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. The Browns get a quarterback. We all think he's good. And then we get to the playoffs once and we get to taste the sweetness. And then everything failed. So, yeah. All right. But let's move on. Well, that's also what I was going to tell you, Tom, because I know we're going to end up talking about the Patriots a lot. Let's not rip on Mac Jones just a ton right away because we're going to have a long time to do it.
Yeah.
Especially
we can't really knock the kid right now.
Yeah, I'm not ripping on Mac Jones at all.
I'm not doing it until he has a bad game. Then I'll shit on him.
I have nothing bad to say about Mac Jones.
Oh, I have bad things to say about him. I hope he tears his ACL. I hope.
Okay, come on.
I have never said that I don't root for injuries. Never
I'm
said
rooting
that.
for injuries tonight. I need some big help from the injury god.
I need
Sequatosaurus Rex to shit the bed.
I need Mike Evans to shit the bed for 5 leagues.
Obviously, I think there's a couple games you still got to get into.
Yep.
But I'm still going to win the game. I'm still going to win my game, I'm pretty sure.
In what?
Fantasy.
Which one?
The Tim Boyle one.
Oh, the Pirate?
Yeah.
Nice.
Tim Boyle, I didn't look how many points he got me, but I'm down by 3 points. And the other guy has nobody going, and I have Chris Godwin. So I'm thinking Chris Godwin's going to give me 3 points.
I just really need Mike Evans to have one of those days where he puts up 5 points, which is entirely possible because he hasn't had it in 6 weeks. And I'm playing against him in 5 of my leagues.
Remind me, once we're done, Tom, remind me to bring up the trade thing from yesterday we talked about briefly because I have to tell you something, but I'll get into it.
I beat a guy this week and listen to his team real quick. So he made a bunch of trades this week just to play me because I have one of the highest scoring teams in the league. His team is Joe Burrow, Nick Chubb, James Robinson, DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, Darren Waller, Travis Kelce, AJ Brown, and then the kicker in the defense.
That's unfortunate. They all shit the bed this week.
I'm sitting here oh, fuck. Here we go. Time buried on the hatches. And I still won 153 to 124.
Wow, really nice.
Asher, Justin, I got to tell you about my TAV League team. I'm currently – I already won. Neither of us have anyone going. I won 175 to 128. Tannehill kind of pooped the bed for me in Kyler's relief, but I had Jonathan Taylor, of course, because you have to have Jonathan Taylor. Mark Ingram for 14. Devontae Adams went for 30. Keenan Allen went for 20. Hawk went for 11. Robinson 11. My kicker got me 8. My defense got me 11. And then T. Higgins shit the bed. But 175, and it was all because of Jonathan Taylor and Devontae Adams going for 30 pieces and a 50 piece.
Also remind me to bring up the trivia question. I have a good trivia question for you guys.
Right.
Yeah, no one ever. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, 53.4 points. Jesus Christ, that was awesome. Kyle Pitts still not getting used, but whatever. All right, let's move on to
San Fran, Jacksonville. We can speed
Yeah,
through it.
I got it. San Fran, Jacksonville. I assume this is another one that probably Red Zone didn't switch to very much.
No, it didn't.
Except for Deebo Samuel, baby.
Yeah, Debo's
My
apparently
starter.
the best running back on the team.
My
that,
starting
bro.
wide receiver turned out to be one of the best running backs on the team.
Yeah, I mean, he's a
No,
beast.
he is the best.
He is the best. Yeah. He's a Swiss Army knife for sure.
He only had 2 targets in the passing game.
I mean, that's Kyle Shanahan finding a way to get guys the ball. Yeah, damn. Deebo Samuel, 8 rushes for 79 yards and a touchdown.
And then he also had actually, no, that was his only touchdown.
Oh, also, how about me? Go Justin for saying Brandon Ayuk yesterday. 7 catches, 85 yards, 1 touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to compliment you on the Zach Ertz call, too, yesterday.
Yeah, that was a
Did he
great
score
call.
twice? I saw his first
He
touchdown.
scored
Did he score
twice.
twice? I didn't know. Yeah.
So the
I
ball
got
was the ball was on the 3rd-yard line. It was supposed to go to James Conner, but it was fumbled off the draw. And Zach Ertz ran a route perfectly, and Colt McCoy threw it right into his hands.
Yeah, he fumbled it. He looked up. He's like, "Hey, Zach's there."
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I almost kind of want Kyler to keep resting just to see how long Colt McCoy can go.
He's a good backup. Like,
Yeah, no, he is. He's
so good.
I think Tom, we've talked about, maybe Asher, me and you as well. Your backup QB, your goal for your backup quarterback should be that if your starter gets hurt for 1 or 2 games, he can fill in and at least win one of those games.
He's won 2 out of 3 so far.
Yeah, and then whereas if you lose your starting quarterback, the season's over. So it's just that your goal is not to have some guy who can come in a full season and play and win, but just a couple games. So
Also,
I mean, go ahead, Tyler.
Go ahead. I jumped the gun. That's my bad.
I was just going into Jacksonville. I don't know. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to point out, I think we're starting to understand why Shanahan doesn't play Trey Sermon. He had 10 touches for 32 yards. He's getting 3.2 yards per carry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just atrocious when you have 10 touches compared to Jeff Wilson's 19.
Yeah, it's looking at him when he was coming out, I thought the transition to the NFL would be a lot better for him than a lot of other past Ohio State running backs because he's more in the pass game. He's more of a pro-style runner. But yeah, clearly he's not, because if you were any good at running back, you get at least carries and have success in Kyle Shanahan's offense. I almost want to give Urban Meyer credit at this point, that not anything about football at all, but the fact that he hasn't been in the news, good for him.
Oh,
I haven't heard
the tracker for the Raiders without having
anything from Urban Meyer in 3 weeks.
It's like the Raiders tracker where they haven't had a questionable incident in a week.
Yeah.
Give a round of applause for our problem children.
And then so I do have this question for you guys, and this is more, I mean, you'll probably have your own opinion on it. So obviously the Jaguars have been terrible this year. And unlike a lot of, not unlike a lot, but there have been rookies that have played on bad teams and still played well. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been one of them. Now, has he been god awful? No. And is his offensive line terrible? Yes. And does he not have a lot of weapons around him? Correct. But how confident are you guys going forward that if Jacksonville stays as it is with Urban Meyer as head coach? Because if he finishes out the season without another incident, I think he remains the head coach next year. How is your outlook for Trevor Lawrence?
I said before he was even drafted that I don't think he should be the number 1 overall pick because his game looks sluggish and I don't think he's ready for the NFL. I thought he was right for the Clemson system, and you know what? He proved throughout high school and college that he could be a good quarterback, but not at the NFL level. I just think his game is a little too sluggish at this point. So I don't know what to say about Trevor Lawrence at this point.
I think he has all of the tools and the ability to perform at the NFL level, but I sort of agree. I think that a lot of his game was overlooked being in that Clemson system and having specifically Travis Etienne make huge plays for him. So I think that next year that's the biggest wild card for me is if Etienne comes and plays like he did in college with Trevor Lawrence. But
Didn't he have T. Higgins for his season too?
Yeah, he did have T. Higgins and Hunter. Did he have Hunter Renfro?
I don't know about Renfro.
No, Renfro was with
Deshaun. Okay, I knew it was close enough. But yeah, so it's going to be very contingent on ETN this year. I think having a guy like Jamal Agnew, who a lot of people only really remember from the beginning of the season with the 101-yard kick return, but he's actually putting together a really solid season, and he's overshadowing Laviska Shenault, who is having a terrible year.
You know what he is. He is everything that the Jaguars thought they were getting in Laviska Shenault. He takes 100%. The reverses. He runs those jet sweeps. He can return kicks if you need to.
Yep. Yeah. But Laviska Shenault, I think, is struggling because he's being forced to the outside, and he doesn't really work that. So Agnew got hurt, so maybe we're going to see Shenault pick up. That's probably why he got 5 catches for 50 yards this game. But I think having those two guys could really help Lawrence, but they need to find a way to utilize them both because it's very apparent that Shenault does not run the outside, and Agnew I don't think can either. So they're going to have to find a way to run them both from the slot, if possible, running a spread potentially with ETN. But it's just I don't want to say that I'm out on Lawrence because I do think he has all of the tools that he needs. But I do think that Meyer is going to need to find a way to utilize the talent he has instead of running the system that he currently wants to run.
It's hard to watch Laviska Shenault struggle because I was so high on him coming into the draft in 2020. Like, he was one of my favorite wide receivers coming out of the draft.
Mm-hmm. He was so good in college.
So good.
Yeah, he looked so good. And I was hoping the Vikings might pick him up.
I'm
glad we got Jefferson, but at the same time,
you could have had both.
We could have had both, yeah.
And the cool thing about Shenault in college was he played at Colorado. And they would play Oklahoma and Texas and everything like that, but he would crush them. Like he did, he put up numbers against them. I loved him coming out too.
Yeah, and it's so hard to watch him struggle now, but I think he will pick up the pace eventually. I think Trevor Lawrence needs to pick up his pace for sure, as far as like moving the ball quicker and not looking so sluggish in the pocket as well. As soon as he learns how to get out of that little slump, I think he will be a good quarterback for Jacksonville.
Justin, I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder from the beginning of the year. Is it because he just doesn't like his situation and doesn't like the game of football because he's playing for such a crappy team?
Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, how many games did he lose in his football career before entering the NFL?
None in the regular season.
Not in the regular season, but like probably 3 total because I know he lost a Nettie and then probably 1 here or there.
Yeah. I think he lost. No, he only lost 2 as a starter.
I said 3. I was close.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
It's a low number. It's a low number.
Yeah. It's some low number that's so astronomical that you would just never. He doesn't know how to lose. And I think he's handling it terribly. Being on a crappy team and losing week in, week out after being the most dominant guy through high school and college, it's brutal and it's going to take a toll on him mentally. So I'm wondering if this sluggish play isn't just him almost wanting out and maybe is getting ready to just be like pulling an Andrew Luck and say, I'll retire if you don't like cut me or release me. Because I really don't think he likes being in Jacksonville. And I don't think he's the type of guy to wait for a rebuild.
Yeah. I said leading up to it that I didn't think that Trevor Lawrence really loved football. I still pretty much believe that. I think he loves winning. It'll be interesting to see if we do get any comments or anything like that on what he says about his first year here under Meyer, because there's going to be things that we didn't hear about, or there's going to be things we did hear about. I think that's a big contingency fan. Like if I'm Amir Khan or what, it's the Khan, the owner, I'm pulling Trevor Lawrence into my office. But before I pull Urban Meyer in, like I'd pull him in and be like, hey, are you okay with Urban being the coach going forward? Like, if you're not, you need to tell us because you are our number one priority. But like, if you're not capable of that or comfortable with that, then this might be an issue, or we'll get rid of Urban. That's fine. But yeah, no, that's what I would do if I was Jacksonville. I also think he really, really struggles. I mean, Agnew is a good weapon, but we say the same things about Mac Jones when they come out or Deshaun Watson come out. He had so many elite options in college. It is such of a different thing to come in to the NFL and play with guys that were elite, but you're also playing elite players every week. And like I said, I've said from the beginning, I don't know if he loves it. It was a lot of it because I just didn't really like Clemson. But at the same time, I mean, there does come a point when you get bored of something because you've been so good at it for so long. Like, I need another challenge. I want to go play basketball.
Yeah.
Now I'm not officially sold on
That's
that.
what Jim Brown did. He was like, football's too easy, so he went to be an actor.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. That's
OJ
a true story.
OJ too.
Well, OJ took on other ventures.
Yeah, he took on other hobbies.
Yeah, no, but we can move on. But the last thing you were saying at the end, Tom, I agree with you but I agree with you in a different sense. I agree with you that it's going to help Trevor Lawrence a lot if he comes back next year, but just for the sense of comfortability. Like, I don't even think he needs to play that well. He just needs to be in there part of the game. So Trevor can just be like, oh, I had this guy next to me in college. Like, it's
a mental thing where he'll be like, oh, I'm happy that I'm playing football at the professional level with, I think, wasn't he his roommate in college? Weren't they like best friends or something like that?
I think they were close. So exactly. That's what makes me think even more like, if he's back next year, it'll just be better. Cause obviously there are two very different perspectives. If they are friends, I can't guarantee it. I don't know, but there are two different very perspectives. Travis Etienne was getting to the NFL. He got hurt, torn ACL. He's going to miss his whole rookie year. That's got to be frustrating, terrible, and things like that. Okay. But yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But Trevor Lawrence, it's just I agree. When he was coming out, I was like, you, Andrew Luck can go anywhere and be good. I don't know. So all right.
I believe. Do we have 2 games left?
We have Cincinnati and Las Vegas,
and Pittsburgh and
Chargers.
We showed a clip, but we didn't necessarily talk about.
All right, let's Cincinnati, Vegas. We can get through these quick if you guys want to. I was impressed with Cincinnati after they've looked bad the last 2 weeks. I was impressed coming off a bye. They looked good. T. Higgins.
Shit the bed. We get it.
Yeah. No, I picked him. So.
Oh, did it? Oh,
yeah.
I had both, so I kind of forgot which one I went with because his name was first.
Yeah, Higgins. He wasn't great. Jamar Chase is going to be in the top 5 NFL receivers within a year or two. His skill set is just so elite. And I obviously have my own like personal likes and personal things I like. He's my perfect receiver in the world. A guy who's 6'1", 6'2", very fast, very strong, makes incredible catches.
Good thing he's on your rival team.
I mean, with the point that the Browns are at now, I'm not against maybe flipping to my Southern brethren. So
hey, that's okay.
I like Joe Burrow. But yeah, no, I was impressed with Cincinnati. I think Vegas. I think Asher. I know we talked about it on Monday. Same thing every year. They come in hot, then they cool down at the end of the year. So it's what's going to keep happening. Obviously, they had a ton of things happen to them throughout the team, whether it was obviously Henry Ruggs, which isn't bad for the team really, but it's bad for society. But it's the team had to go through it. And then Gruden had to go through that thing. So I just think they're clocked out this year. But I was impressed with Cincinnati. Asher?
Yeah, I was just so surprised seeing Boyd's name come up 6 different times.
I know, dude. I don't want to. I hate the dynamic that they have, but I'll wait for you to finish.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd, who is starting to become the wide receiver 3 in that offense. Heard his name 6 times. He has 6 receptions. didn't do a whole lot with those. He still had like 8 targets in the game. So you could tell that Joe Burrow might have just been like trying to ditch off the ball to him a few times. If T. Higgins and Jamar Chase were kind of pushed off or something. But no, I have to agree with you. Jamar Chase he has skill sets this year that maybe Justin Jefferson didn't have in his astounding rookie season. So I agree with you. Jamar Chase might be almost a perfect wide receiver in a lot of eyes. Jamar Chase, he's unreal. He's going to be a fantastic wide receiver. I think Joe Burrow's going to have fun with him as the year goes by.
So
go ahead.
Real quick. So I don't know how much college football you watch, but it obviously, we said it last week, but the fact that Joe Burrow was able to throw Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson at the same time at the college level is just not fair.
Not fair. It's unfair in so many aspects.
Yeah, but I look at the Jefferson Chase thing. Like at Ohio State, you have Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Like I think Jefferson's a lot more like Chris Olave, where he's smooth. He's going to catch 99% of the things you throw to him. He's got great hands. But he'll get open downfield, but he's never going to be that burner that makes the special, huge, crazy catch where Jamar Chase is that kind of guy. So sorry, that's just who I kind of in my head was thinking about. So sorry.
Just off that, before we get back to Asher, did you guys see on Twitter? I forget, some analyst was like, Chris Olave is just Keenan Allen.
I think I did see something about it.
Like, I think someone came in, another analyst was like, you obviously do not watch football.
That's the coldest take I've ever heard.
It is the coldest take I've ever heard. And I love Keenan Allen. I think he's a great receiver and a great player, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just the comparison between the two is just incorrect.
Clearly.
Anyway, we can go back to you.
I completely agree. I think Jamar Chase is a lot flashier in his game. Jefferson, he will catch 99% of the passes that are thrown to him, no matter what awkward angle he'll come down with the ball. The difference between those two is that Jamar Chase can actually do something with the ball right afterwards. He can get back up on his feet and do something. Jefferson has done that, but more times than not, Justin Jefferson will come down with the ball and make sure he stays in bounds. Whereas Jamar Chase is looking to turn the burners on upfield.
And honestly, it's honestly just your preference of which one, because I mean there are people out there who like the guy a lot more. That'll be the slot guy that comes across the middle. You throw it to 50 times a game, he makes 14 catches. So
I'll take either. I don't care. Give me either one. I'll be fine with it.
Well, I kind of have to be kind of like frugal about my receiver picks, because my last receiver that I thought I loved, I don't love him anymore. So he's in LA getting unloved there. So
Asher, did you have anything else?
No.
Okay,
that's pretty much about it. A lot of praise to the Bengals, not much to the Raiders.
I am gonna go kind of opposite from Justin a little bit. I was not very impressed with the Bengals. They only had 10 points at halftime, and it was a pretty upsetting 10 points, I would say. Who scored the touchdown in the second? Was that that was Mixon? One of I have to say I love Joe Mixon. You guys have heard me talk about Joe Mixon on here. I was very impressed with him last night. I think he carried the Bengals to this, obviously with his 2 touchdowns and 123 rushing yards. The stats say that. I'm not saying I was not impressed with Joe Burrow going 20 for 29, 150 and a touchdown. But this Raiders team is in free fall, as Justin said. I was kind of hoping that this would be another one of the beatdowns that we saw earlier in the day. I just thought it was going to be the fact that they only got 5 total receptions between Chase and Higgins. That was bad. And Boyd got 6, and he got 6 for 50 yards. So it's not like it was great plays. But I absolutely love Joe Mixon. I think he might be one of the most underrated running backs in the league because he is a workhorse back. I mean, they're not really giving touches to anyone else.
He had 30 carries yesterday.
30 touches. Yeah, 30 carries. And he's a guy who can do some damage in the passing game. I love Joe Mixon. I love everything about his game. And I was kind of surprised neither one of you talked about it.
I knew you were going to talk about
it.
Yeah. So I didn't want to talk about him too much.
Fair enough.
Coming into it, I remember having a conversation with you. You were really high on Mixon this season, so I thought I'd leave that to you. I was impressed with Joe Mixon, but I like the versatile weapons that Joe Burrow had. So I just wanted to highlight those while you touched on Mixon.
I'll take it all day.
I mean, CJ Uzoma has more probably receiving yards in those like 3 touchdowns this year than he had in his like previous 3 years combined. So,
Is that true?
I don't know if it's true. I just made it up.
Oh,
Yeah, okay. All right, so let's move to the last one. Chargers, Steelers. Again,
What a
lead
game.
off. We'll lead off by saying great touchdown to Pat Freiermuth.
Big Patty Daddy. Get his name right.
I'm not gonna
Patty
call him.
Daddy.
Big Patty Daddy.
Daddy, baby. Before we make Justin explode, it sucks that Jonathan Taylor had to have a 5 total touchdown day because Austin Eckler came out with a 4 total touchdown day.
Was that who mentioned Eckler yesterday that we kind of had the same thought? Was it one of you two? I thought it was.
You mentioned Eckler maybe that was Tom that mentioned Eckler wasn't being used to his fullest capabilities. I don't know.
I did say that actually.
I
I said that I was frustrated because they weren't using him properly.
Yeah,
I think they figured out how to use him.
Yeah, he didn't have the most impressive stat line as far as total yards go that Jonathan Taylor had, but Eckler still came down with 4 TDs, 2 rushing, 2 receptions. Justin Herbert came out with almost a 400-yard day with 3 TDs.
He's so
3 tutties. It's crazy how inconsistent he's been this season, but when he can put up points, man, it's fun to watch him play. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. And I was very impressed. I know we just talked about him. Keenan Allen is kind of like a Julio Jones to me, where he always gets a ton of like receptions and a ton of yards, but never gets the touchdown for some reason. He had nine catches yesterday for 112 yards.
13 targets.
13 targets. He's like the ultimate safety man from the wide receiver position.
Yeah. I'd say the biggest player that the most disappointed player I saw out there yesterday was definitely Najee Harris. He did have a tutty, but for 12 attempts, he only went for 39 yards, and the Chargers D line was banged up. So this was the perfect opportunity for Najee Harris to come in and explode, but he didn't. He
also had 5 catches for 20 yards, and I'm not trying to justify that, but
no. Yeah, I mean, regardless, he's still gonna put some stats up on the board. He could have had a way bigger game than he did. But
I would say it was a pretty bad game for him, in my opinion.
It was not good.
I will say this about him. I think he still is going to be very good.
Oh,
I just think this year and possibly even next year as well, until the Pittsburgh offensive line gets their situation figured out, he may not look as good as we think he should, but I still think he's going to be really good. But yeah, he sucked last night.
Well, hey, if this is not his final form, I am all on Najee Harris. I mean, fantasy purpose wise, because that's how I kind of think about things nowadays. This is like one of 2 or 3 games now that he hasn't put up like 20 points.
Yeah,
even
Jonathan Taylor started out slow coming into the league, so there's no reason to worry. Najee Harris has a lot of promise in this league.
Love him,
and I can't wait for him to explode. But let's talk about Big Ben throwing for almost 300 yards and 3 tutties,
44 attempts.
Holy smokes!
I'm almost more impressed with Deontay Johnson because he had a hell of a game again.
His pass catching abilities are insane. I'm not gonna lie.
7 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. And it should have been 2 touchdowns, but they got him short. That's what set up the Freiermuth touchdown, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deontay Johnson has gotten a lot better this year than he was in past years. I mean, Steelers suck. I don't know what you want me to say.
It was a
That's
fun
why we
game
did
to watch,
majority
though.
of talking.
It was an awesome game to watch. I watched
watch.
most of it. I think the Steelers are better than the Browns, but like there's an analogy I would like to make. Like I want to say the AFC North is like the SEC. Like we're all just so good, but no, we're the Pac-12. We all just we all suck and we all just eat each other.
Eat each other up.
We just cannibalize each other. There's no actual good team in the division. They just we beat each other. So, but it was an awesome game. Any game with points is always dope. And I think one of the players that obviously Kyler will probably be another one that I'm most looking forward to next season will be Justin Herbert. Just because if he can put these 2 combined years together into like a 1 year, then that would be next year. I think he'd rise. He also had 9 carries for 90 yards yesterday.
Yeah, that was insane.
Really?
I just saw that in the box score. I was
Jesus.
like, what?
Yeah, I watched him.
Dual threat.
I watched a few of his run plays, and I'm like, dude, this man is freakishly fast.
Yeah,
I don't know
he
if it's
is.
just because he looks slow when he's running, but I don't know if it's because he's just gigantic.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
he's got the Josh Allen effect where he's
This
just got
man,
long strides.
Oh man, this man took off.
Yeah, no, I think Herbert. Yeah, I like Herbert a lot, and it's good that I'm adapting myself to all these other quarterbacks and deciding I like these other quarterbacks, so I can just choose a new team to cheer for next year, or just every week come on the show and dream up trade scenarios how we end up with Justin Herbert or something like that. I don't know, but
Sell the farm.
I mean, and you guys though, I'm sure like Jets Twitter sucks and Vikings Twitter sucks, but Browns Twitter was all over the place yesterday trying to get Russell Wilson and Sierra to Cleveland. Oh boy. I was like, bro, Sierra doesn't even like Seattle. I think she's gonna hate Cleveland. I also don't want Russell Wilson. Am I the only
Not
one
after
here?
that game. No, I don't want Russ.
I don't want Russell Wilson.
I know he's
either.
32, and this was like his first big injury this year, but Jesus Christ, he looks horrible.
He's not looking good at all.
All right, so I think we got through all the games.
We did.
And then real quick, for maybe 5 minutes, I did want to do some college football talk.
Mhm.
I don't know how much you guys do with college football, how much you know.
I dabble.
Yeah, it's not very hard. So not very hard. So I didn't mean that as an insult. Like it's not. So the newest rankings come out this week. Last week we obviously saw. I'm not going to explain it. Who are your guys' best 4 teams this year right now? No, I take it back. Right now. Yeah, right now. Who would your guys' 4 playoff teams be right now?
I think George is a clear-cut number 1.
Mm-hmm.
There's no debating that. I think OSU has looked good. CJ Stroud had a massive game, especially in the first quarter.
He's gonna win the fucking Heisman
in the first quarter alone.
Like, I'm like a kind of an Ohio State fan, not really. I really just am because it makes people around me happier. But CJ Stroud has absolutely no business winning the Heisman Trophy. It's just the fact that no one is good this year.
Yeah, and he just had the best performance in college football of the year.
And then I would like to say Alabama, just because everyone thinks Alabama is the top 4 team. They always are. But just for the sake of being devil's advocate, I think my last 2 teams, based off the performance and their strength of schedule, I think it's going to be Notre Dame and Cincinnati.
Wow,
that's interesting. I think you'd have to have a lot happen for Notre Dame and Cincy to get in.
Yeah, Oregon's like essentially eliminated now because they lost to Utah, right?
Oregon's out, but I would say one of the real wild cards is the Big 12. Obviously, Oklahoma has already lost, but Oklahoma State is now ranked ahead of them, and they have 1 loss, but they're ranked ahead of them. So Bedlam is supposed to be awesome this weekend. It's not going to be awesome because Bedlam in the past is usually like 65 to 64. Oklahoma State this year is all about their defense. They're not a very good offensive team. They have a really good defense. So I'm not as looking forward to that. I like Cincinnati. I actually think as long as Cincinnati wins out, I think they're in. And then
I think
in my opinion, it goes like you said, Georgia at the very top, number 1, and then a lot of space, and then Ohio State, and then a lot of space, and then the rest of the 4.
Alabama and Cincy and whoever.
I don't think. I think Ohio State would breeze past any other team in the country but Georgia, and I think Georgia would beat the shit out of Ohio State.
I do too. I think that, I think it's going to be really interesting. So I have a question. Essentially, 2 losses puts you out of the playoff hunt, right?
Unless you're Alabama.
That's what I was going to ask because I know that they're going to have to play Georgia in the SEC championship.
Yeah, so I think it's something that is. It's still pretty unlikely, but the more these things break open, it could happen. I think we get 2 SECs and 2 Ohio teams. I think you get Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's my thought as well. It's going to be really unfortunate because I think Cincinnati is going to finish as 4 and get the shit kicked out of them by Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, well, here's my thing, and then we can move on and get off whatever. But Georgia is so good that, like I said, I don't think Ohio State would have really a chance. But I need to at least like clarity. I need to have clarity just to see it, because in my head there are parts of me that thinks like Ohio State's got the guys that can beat them on defense, and I do think they would put up 14, 17 points. But I still think that Georgia would just shut them down. But yeah, no. If you were out there and you're a college football fan, the game you want to see most this year is Ohio State's offense against Georgia's defense. And it's very much looking like that could happen this year. And then, like you kind of mentioned, Asher, the Heisman race, it's pretty wide open again, though, because C.J. Stroud could come out and have a bad week versus Michigan and be completely out of it. So I have no idea who's going to go to this year. I almost wish they would just make it an all-defensive finalist. Just for once, just be like, you know what? The offensive players just weren't the best this year. Here's some defensive players. But, yeah, college football, and then we got rivalry week this week. We got the Egg Bowl on Thursday. And then Michigan, Ohio State, noon Saturday. Bedlam will probably be 3:30. Auburn, Alabama, late night. But Auburn, Alabama stinks, though. I thought Bama was good, or Auburn could beat Alabama, but Bo Nix is out. So, all right. Well, there's thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate that.
I think Tom wanted to talk about one more thing.
What's up?
He meant to us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. My bad.
I was talking to you. Thanks for listening, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for listening to me talk about college football for the last 5 minutes.
Don't get me wrong. I love college football.
I got you. It's all good. There's just honestly, there's not there is a lot to talk about in college football, but there's just not, because it all comes down to the playoff rankings, and you can get that through that conversation in 5 minutes. So, because no one is ever going to agree on that for anything. So, all right. I'm just gonna check ESPN, make sure we haven't had any breaking news.
I've been on my Twitter. I've been looking.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything crazy.
All I saw off my Twitter is Gronk is questionable, and that's literally the only thing that's been coming in.
If you're the Bucks, do you let Gronk sit for a while, or do you play him? Because
they've been letting him sit for weeks.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So maybe he's really injured, which I don't know. It doesn't look good. But of course, silly me. Let me go back and here's our picks from yesterday. I forgot about them until now. Vikings. Oh yeah, damn it! I rode alone with the Packers on that one. So you guys both got that one. I did not. We all went with Detroit plus 13. They covered.
Woo!
We also all went Jets plus 4. They did not.
Woo!
Shocker on this one, guys. We all took the Bills as well.
Oh yeah.
Me and Asher took the Eagles, so we win. Tom, you took New Orleans.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Oh, and then we all took the Chargers, so that was good. Who's the only one to pick the Kansas City Dallas game correctly? This guy.
Asher.
This guy. No, it was me. It was me.
Fucking Cowboys, dude.
Fucking Cowboys.
I know. And that was because the Cowboys for once.
That game doesn't even count. And
for once, I was like, you know what? Maybe the Cowboys are for real. Maybe they're going to make this playoff run and then just, I don't know.
Whenever I want them to do well, they shit the bed. But whenever I don't want them to do well, they do great.
They're like God tier back in the 90s type.
Yeah, what the shit?
All right. Well, that's gonna do it.
Who won?
Oh shoot! Hold on.
You guys tied.
Did we?
Yeah.
Wait. 1, 2.
I know I did not because I took the Jet. Well, I guess not the Jet. The Saints.
3, 2.
Yeah, you took the Saints and the Cowgirls.
Yeah, so I'm out of it.
Asher, you went 4 and 3.
I went 3 and 4.
You went 3 and 4.
No one got 5 right. And that's all I know. He's double counting.
Yeah, he's demanding a recount. He's
Hold on.
demanding a recount.
So Asher, you went 4 and 3.
Yes.
Tom, you went 3 and 4. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to, because somehow I got myself going 4 and 4. So I clearly counted wrong.
Oh, that works.
1 and 3, 2 and 3, 3 and 3, 4 and 3. I went 4 and 3.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys tied.
So we tied. All right, fellas. Sunday morning, I'll see you. I'm sure I'll talk to you guys. Once again, I will plan on dropping my number in the chat the next time I go on Facebook. I know I've been saying that for a week now, so probably not going to happen this week either. But you know where to find me if you need me. What? I got to end it. Any last words for you guys?
Let's go, Dogs.
Big Pat